Moscow has now warned Britain to stay away from its war with Kyiv. Russia has said that any deployment of British troops in Ukraine will prolong the war and not really end it. This as France and Britain have expressed their intention to send troops to Ukraine once a ceasefire with Russia is reached. The Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson has further reiterated her statement that any foreign troops will be seen as legitimate targets and an enlargement of the conflict. The feud over the deployment of the troops has spiraled as British Defence Minister John Healey wrote in a weekend newspaper article signalling that the deployment of British troops will finally mean that the war is over.
Contrary to Healey's misconception, the deployment of British troops to Ukraine would not bring the war to an end, but would prolong this conflict instead and increase the risk of a major military confrontation involving many more states. As we have repeatedly emphasized, in case of a military intervention in Ukraine, foreign contingents will become a legitimate military target for us.
Russia's renewed threats have come at the backdrop of recent reports suggesting that around 600 foreign mercenaries are signing up with the Ukrainian armed forces every month. And according to a TASS report, currently more than 10,000 foreign volunteers from 75 countries serve in the Ukrainian ground forces. Now, all this unfolds as Russian presidential envoy Kirill Dmitriev arrived in Geneva, where he is expected to hold talks with the US officials. The talks will involve Kyiv's chief negotiator Rustem Umerov, who will meet with the U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. The two sides are set to discuss post-war reconstruction and preparations for the next meeting, with Russia's previous rounds of U.S.-led negotiations between Kyiv and Moscow in Geneva and Abu Dhabi have failed to yield a compromise. But Russia's series of threats don't just end there. Russia has further threatened that it will retaliate against a European Union decision to cut its diplomatic mission in Brussels to 40. Russia has slammed the move as discriminatory and unfair.